Vikings did not wear helmets with horns. Is it true? I'll try to figure it out. For a long time, there was an idea in popular culture that the Vikings wore helmets with horns. The idea is not the most obvious. After all, a helmet is fundamentally not too different from a helmet. The fewer elements on it that the enemy's weapons can catch on, the better, with the exception of ritual armor. So where did this myth come from? Most likely, Viking horns first appeared in the 19th century in illustrations for Fridtjof's saga by Esaias Tegner, and a little later on the costumes of the heroes of Wagner's opera Nibelungenlied. Costume designer Emil Diepeler, of course, had no idea what the Viking helmets actually looked like. The archaeology of Scandinavia was then not very developed. In 1904, an oak longship was found in eastern Norway. Now it is known to us as the Oseberg boat. This is a warship that was used as a funeral. Before the burial ceremony, the Draker was decorated with various carvings, including the image of a warrior in a horned helmet. At the same time, archaeologists have not found a single such helmet until a certain point. Although there are enough finds of armor. According to them, we can say that the Vikings used frame helmets, Wendel, then Spangenhelms, and then simple conical ones. There were no horns until 1942. It was then that one Dane found in a swamp, from which he took out peat, fragments of 2 helmets, with horns. At that moment, the find was a little off, but after the Second World War, it gave rise to a new wave of images of horned Vikings. The protests of scientists did not bother anyone, however, their position was slightly vague. The fact is that the researchers dated the helmets, based on their design, and attributed them to the Bronze Age. Scientists from Aarhus University, Denmark, conducted an additional study, the results of which are presented in a paper published in the journal Prehistorische Zeitschrift. In 2019, while photographing artifacts, one of the members of the scientific group noticed the remains of birch tar on one of the horns. This made it possible to date based on the decay time of carbon-14 isotopes, a method that is now considered quite reliable. According to him, the helmet was placed in a swamp around 900 BC, long before the Viking Age. In addition, scientists have correlated helmets with finds made in the southeast of Iberia and Sardinia, drawings and figures of people with similar curved horns on their headdresses. All this together places the helmets in the late Bronze Age of Northern Europe, a time when the regular trade in metals and other objects became very common, and foreign ideas influenced the culture of the indigenous peoples. It is possible that the horn theme came to Scandinavia along the sea route from the Mediterranean and along the Atlantic coast, which was used by the Phoenician seafarers for trade after about 1000 BC, regardless of the flourishing transalpine trade route. There is no evidence that even in the pre-Viking era, helmets were ever used during the war. There are no damages characteristic of battle armor. The authors of the work suggest that the leaders wore helmets as a symbol of power at a time when the region was becoming more politicized and centralized. That's all. If you liked it, push like button, subscribe and click on the bell. Have a good day.